Hey, how's everyone doing? This is Justin Johnson, and I'm going to be talking in this live stream about playing slide guitar like I was just playing in standard tuning on the 6-string guitar here. You know, standard tuning, generally when you talk about standard tuning, you're talking about the probably the most popular, most well-used, well-known tuning for the 6-string guitar. And that's starting from the low string. It's tuned to E, A, D, G, B, E. And that's the same whether you're playing an acoustic guitar, an electric guitar, a cigar box guitar like this one right here built by Hambone Cigar Box Guitars, any 6-string. You know, and that's the way I learned slide guitars. So, you know, a lot of times in a lot of my live streams and lessons, things like that, I talk about open tunings. Standard tuning's actually the tuning that I used when I learned slide guitar. And I love it because you can play all the same riffs you know in standard tuning, you know. Play those just the same way you would play them any other time, only you can add the specific voice, tone, inflections that you get from playing the finger slide, you can add it to that tuning. You know, so if I'm playing a riff like something like that, just a blues riff using the minor pentatonic scale. If I want to play the same riff on the slide, you can add a whole different voice. You know, so it just gives you a different style, a different inflection. And so, you know, the key really, first of all, is start to learn some of these riffs. Like, if, you know, you want to get comfortable in standard tuning before you pick up the slide and start learning in standard tuning. Because the thing is, in standard tuning, some of these chords, like if you just start strumming and hold the slide and push it up, you know, to like playing all 6 strings, it doesn't sound good because it's the standard tuning is not like open D or open E or open G like other open tunings where it's already tuned to a chord. There's only certain notes, you know, open that sound good together, that are tuned to chords. And so you really want to play, you know, usually you're only playing 1, 2, or 3 notes at the same time, 3 strings at the same time. And those are called chord fragments. You're basically playing parts of chords and then piecing them together in standard tuning. So let me show you what I mean. Like, I'm going to hit this low E string, and I'm going to play the top 2 strings, the B and the E string. I'm going to play those on the 12th fret. You notice that sounds good together. And I'll also play another chord fragment in E. If I'm playing an E major, I can go up here to the 9th fret, and I can play the D, the G, and the B string, all on the 9th fret. And that actually gives me an E major chord. So if I hit that low E, and and I slide up to the 9th fret on those strings, it sounds like I'm in an open tuning. So I'm basically mimicking an open tuning doing that. Same if I hit the 7th fret on the low E and on the A string. It's also in that E chord. So basically, you know, if I was in open E, I could just hit all these notes on the 12th fret and it would make an open E major chord. If I play it on the 12th and then the 9th and then the 7th, I can do the same note. So it's all about finding those chord fragments and shifting between. And that's what I was doing on that last song. So if I play that low E, I can just move between the 12th fret on the high 2 strings, the 9th fret on those middle 3, and then the 7th fret on the A string, and I can play those all day long and it'll sound good. So I'm basically mimicking that open tuning, and that goes the same, you know, you can transpose that same pattern up and down the fretboard. If I go to an A, I can do the same thing on the 5th fret, the 2nd fret, and open. So I can play that A chord, and back to E. So I'm going to play a little bit more in this same key, basically E and A, and I'm just going to move around those patterns. And the key to a lot of this also is muting. When I play certain strings with my right hand, I'm actually muting unwanted strings. So if I'm playing the D, G, and B string on the 9th fret for that E chord, and then I go up to the 12th fret, I'm actually going to mute those strings that I want to, you know, I basically want to quiet the strings I'm not playing. See, I'll move my thumb right there, and I'll mute every string except for those top 2. And that's something you have to do a lot more with standard tuning than you have to do with open tunings. And that's why a lot of people start with open tunings when they play slide. But you know, there's just something, if you're playing with a band, if you're playing by yourself, whatever context, you know, and you're just, you know songs in standard tuning, and you're just playing a blues song, you know, and you want to add that slide blues, you know, it's just great to be able to do that, you know, so you really should learn slide and standard tuning for that reason. So you can see how different it sounds. Like I'm playing with two guitarists basically. There's one playing rhythm and one playing slide, and it gives you those tonal and inflection, those variations that really make it an interesting arrangement. Another way to practice is to play riffs that you know in a standard tuning, and then mimic them on the slide. So let me just give you an example. I'm going to switch to the key of A here. It's an A major, and I'm just going to come up with like a like a standard simple blues riff here at A. And I'll play that again. And I'm going to play the same thing on the slide, so you figure it out. And once you learn it, you want to add those slide inflections that could really make it sound different. So instead of it just sounding like, then you add those unique inflections you can only get with the slide. Because the slide, you're not bound by the frets. You can slide up to notes, you can slide down to notes, you can add vibrato that you can't get any other way. Maybe add another note in there and just give it that different character. And that's what I like to do when I'm playing lead a lot of times. I'll almost act like I'm two players. I'll do a riff, then I'll play it on the slide and do an answer. And that comes from my love of bands like the Allman Brothers, where you have something like Dickie Betts playing fretted guitar, and then you have Dwayne Allman answering back with him on the slide. And you can kind of do that by yourself with this technique. If you want to learn more about, really getting in depth to these muting techniques and learning some of these riffs note by note, taking your time with it, then I encourage you to go to my website, rootsmusicschool.com, because I have an entire DVD, a full-length DVD on specifically slide guitar for standard tuning, just like what I'm playing here. And so that really breaks it down. I mean, it's much more in depth than I can do on a live stream like this. It breaks it down note for note, tells you every single note, where to put your hand, how to control the right-handed muting, the left-handed muting, how to deal with the low action that a lot of times you have when you're playing fretted chords and fretted notes and slide playing, and just a lot of the helpful hints and secrets and techniques and that kind of thing that really help you learn this style. And again, that's my DVD, 6-string slide guitar technique for standard tuning. And you can find that at rootsmusicschool.com, along with my signature slide, again, which it's a light ceramic slide, but it has a lot of sustain. So that also helps with learning this technique, because it's a really easy slide to control, but it gives you the sustain of a much heavier slide. And it also has two different sides to it, the ceramic slide. So it has a raw ceramic side, and it has a glazed ceramic side, so you can get smooth sounds. Or you can get a nice, more of a scratchy, it's almost like adding a distortion pedal in a way. It just sustains forever with that ceramic side. So again, you can find that at rootsmusicschool.com also. I'm just going to have a little more fun. Oh, one more thing too, something that I get asked a lot about slides and controlling the slide, because with standard tuning it's really good to learn how to control the slide. And look right here, my fingers are pretty narrow. When I put this slide on, it's my finger just
long but narrow.
Long but narrow. Yeah, exactly. You know, my finger is more narrow than the inside of the slide. And the reason I like a big slide, you know, not a huge one, but one that's thicker walls and a thicker diameter, is because they sustain better. They have more mass, more material, so they're more resonant. They sustain better. And you can easily learn to control this, even with small fingers, even with narrow fingers. You notice, like, I'm not touching the slide with any finger, but it's not going anywhere. And it's because I've learned to control it. I've got my finger bent around the inside, and I'm basically bending my finger inside the slide to control it. You don't have to pad the inside. You can if you want. You can add padding to the inside, but I really think the best way to control it is to learn how to just hold it in your hand. And you don't have to even play guitar to be practicing how to hold the slide. I always recommend to people just learning the slide to just keep it on your finger all day long, you know. That way it becomes part of your body. You learn how to just move with it, and you forget that it's even on your finger. And then when you go to play slide, it's a much more organic feel. It feels like it's actually part of your hand. And also, practice songs that you already know with the slide on your finger, even if you're not using the slide. So, you know, there's a lot of practice that I did when I first started playing the slide, where I just played songs I already knew fretted, and I didn't play any slide. I just kept playing. So you can see I didn't do anything with the slide there, but what I'm doing is I'm learning how to use 3 fingers instead of 4. I'm learning how to use my pinky instead of my ring finger for some of those chords and some of those riffs, and also my thumb. So I actually use 4 fingers. And when you start to develop those styles, it becomes second nature. Then when you take the slide off, you're like, I got an extra finger. You feel like you got an extra finger on your hand. Thanks for watching, everybody, and stay tuned for more live streams. See you next time.